Welcome back to our show, the Mind of Design podcast. I am so happy that you're with us today, and I really am getting excited about the idea of what we're building and really what we're after as we continue to really sort of invade this space of design and looking at it from the angle that I believe is different than everybody else. And I'm by no means in any comparison to anyone. I'm only comparing to myself to be the best that I can be so that I can produce something that is not only worthy of you, but is also going to help you in your daily flow, in your life, in your business, in whatever it is that you set your mind to do, because I believe that design goes far beyond the borders of limitation, like this is this type of design or that type of design. Design is a lifestyle. Design is actually truly a manifestation of people that understand the value that they bring to the world. And the sooner you understand this, the sooner you grasp this just methodology of understanding, you will begin to enter into a space that you can start to really live life from the expression rather than the experience. And that's really what I'm after here. That's what the Mind of Design podcast is all about, is to look into the mind, to look into the space that nobody else is looking at, really. I'm not talking about behavioral modification. I'm talking about actually drilling down deep into the soul, into the realm beyond the facade, into the space where people actually are dealing with things. And in that space, that is where we can really truly have not just breakthroughs, but revelations into the space of what is possible. Because anybody can look at a problem and say, this is a problem. That's easy. I mean, that's just observing. Most people just observe the room and say, well, there's a bunch of people in here. Well, that's a great observation. That's easy to solve, and that's easy to look at. But to really dig deep and not just see the people, but actually see the situation, see the potential, see the possibilities, see the insights into where they are, into where they're going, into what they're building, into what they are looking to accomplish. Why are they there? What are they looking for? What are they going through? What are some of the downfalls, and what are some of the uphill battles that they're facing? I mean, all of those things have to do with relationship, correct? I mean, that's really what it's all about, is sort of relationship and building that rapport with people, your fellow man. So you might be wondering, well, what does that have to do with design? It has everything to do with design, because design first has to do with the person that is the designer. And if the designer has some kind of sort of blockage in their mind, in their ability to see beyond, then that is our responsibility as fellow man, as people that are looking to help our world and make it a great place, not just a better one. So I want to look at this here. We're talking about, this is season 2. Of course, as you know already, we've really established the groundwork and the foundation in the first few episodes as we came back from sort of quite a long sabbatical, I'll say, hiatus, whatever you want to call it. It's been quite a bit of a break that we had from the past few months prior. So I believe we ended in like the middle of September for the first season. So here we are in season 2. We are full blast, and we are boring into something incredible this month. We're talking about this area of the looking behind the scenes, because it's really behind the scenes is where everything is actually built. So the art of persistence, crafting in silence, is the title for today. And this is a 4-part series again, and we're talking about something very unique and very special to me, because I believe that this is where really legends are made. This is where things are established in life, in business, in our daily flow, whatever we do, whatever we find ourselves doing. This is where it all begins, and this is where it all finds its root. So we're doing things when nobody is looking, where masters are born and legends are made. That is the overarching sort of vision for this month. This is what we're talking about, and like I said, we're talking about the art of persistence, and crafting in silence is the subtitle. Crafting in silence is the subtitle of this session today as we get into this. So I want to look at this with you, and of course get you amped up in something that I believe is vitally important to our world and to the message that we portray to our world, because the world is waiting for us to get some kind of understanding of who we really are. Because if you don't know who you are, the world cannot receive you. But if you know who you are, the world can now begin to experience the expression that you are to it. And we have people like this vis-a-vis, we have people like Elon Musk, we have Jeff Bezos, we have Zuckerberg, we have all of these Warren Buffetts, we have Richard Branson's. There's so many. Ralph Lauren. I mean, these are just some great names in the in the design space and in their specific role and what they play in the world. Coco Chanel. I mean, there's so many. There's so many that are just, I mean, they're marked in history. They're etched into the recesses of our mind as some of the greats, as some of the great people that are influencers or impactors, people that are changing the narrative. They're not just looking at situations and saying, well, this is the way it is. No, they're actually taking vital steps towards the freedom that they want to see in the world. And so we're talking about, as we get into this, the foundation of silence. So important. The foundation of silence. Establishing the significance of silent work in the pursuit of mastery across the fields that we're focused on. Because remember, it's not so much the noise you make, it's how much you do in silence that nobody sees. Because let's be honest, I mean, nobody really looks at a foundation until there's maybe a stress crack or a leak or some kind of issue that's associated with the foundation. But when people go look at a house, they're not wowed by the basement. I mean, in most cases they're not. If it's a finished basement, great, but I'm talking about the actual foundation of that basement. The thing that makes that house tick, the thing that makes that house have its personality, i.e. the furnace, the boiler system, the ductwork, all of the intricacies that step behind the veil of what makes it so. The electrical unit, I mean the panel, nobody gets excited about that stuff, and rightfully so, because why? We're looking for the experience, not so much where it's coming from. But see, to every experience, there is a person providing that. There is a level of understanding behind what that experience is, and that is what is vitally important. And if you don't think it's vitally important, just wait for a stress crack to come into the foundation of a house that you own. Or wait for something to go wrong with the boiler system unit. And I'm not saying these things will happen to you, but I'm just saying it's almost like we only notice the things when they go bad. When something goes south. I mean, there's so many different terminologies to describe the same thing, so I'm not going to go through the list, but you know what they are. I just hit on two of them. But see, that's a perfect example of what it looks like in life when we're going after things, when we're building things, when we're creating things, when we're establishing things. Nobody sees the foundation. Nobody cares about the foundation. When people are buying a property, they're not looking and saying, wow, what a nice foundation. I mean, that'd be kind of weird, honestly. At least I think it would be. Unless you're an engineer or somebody that can, I don't know, get some kind of desire from looking at a foundation. I mean, if that's your thing, I mean, that's your thing. But I'm talking about 99% of the world and the population does not look at the foundation in the sense of, like, that's what they're buying the house for. That's what they're buying the piece of real estate for. They're buying it for what it can do for them, what it can produce for them, the potential that it has, etc. And so, but the foundation in our business, in our work, in our craft is so vital. It's so important. It's the engine room that creates everything. It's the artery. It's the main vein of everything that we do. But yet it is something that is overlooked and misunderstood many times, because establishing the significance of this working in silence is so, it's such a, it's like the thing that nobody talks about but everybody knows about. I mean, it's like you walk into the room, you notice that X, Y, and Z is wrong, but you're not going to say it. It's the whole expression, the elephant in the room. Everybody knows there's an elephant in the room. This is this blatant thing that's just like there in your face, but nobody's looking at it. Nobody's paying attention to it. Why? Because it's socially awkward, or it's some kind of weird just connection to it that we don't want to be that person. Don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Don't be that person. Why? Because it flies in the face, and it puts you on it puts you on, as I say, Jump Street. I mean, it just puts you right out there in the world, and people are looking and they're wondering, well, why would you say that? But yet, that's the thing that everybody knows that needs to be said. And you catch my sort of drift of what I'm talking about here. There's a quote that I have that really encapsulates the idea and the essence, really, of the foundation of silence, and that is, silence is the sleep that nourishes wisdom. That's Francis Bacon. What a great last name, huh? Francis Bacon. Wow, they must have had a great life. With a name like Bacon, it has to be good. Given a slight pun to Smuckers, name like Smuckers, it has to be good. Don't worry, I'm not sponsoring them, but I used to love that as a kid. The commercial, if a name like Smuckers, it has to be good. Maybe I'm the only one that heard that, but nonetheless, I used to get a kick out of stuff like that. Same thing with the bologna commercial. BOLOGNA. I mean, it was just like, I still don't like bologna, but yet the commercial made it so cool. Like, I could go on. I mean, there's so many different jingles and things that are associated with commercials, especially the ones when I was growing up, like Band-Aids, Band-Aids Stick on Me. I mean, it was just such a catchy thing, especially for kids, and it made it very fun and inviting. But that's a totally separate tangent. I'm not going to go down that wormhole. I'll stay on course here. But the discussion that we're really having is the crucial role of quiet, diligent work in the process of achieving excellence. That's what's vitally important here, is making sure that what we're doing, most people would never know what I do on a daily basis. They would never have a clue, and I don't need them to know. It's not important for them to know. It's important for me to know. So when I see people assuming certain things, I just laugh, because if you only knew. But you don't, and that's okay. And I understand that you don't know, and I'm okay with that. And that's what's more important, is for me to be okay with that, not so much whether you're okay. Why? Because it doesn't matter if you're okay with it. It's there's a book from the 90s and a whole philosophy really from the late 80s into the 90s. Really, it was a hot topic. And it was this whole metaphor, mindset thing of, I'm okay, you're okay. And it was this whole mantra of experience for people that, well, if you're okay, that's a load of nonsense. What do you mean if you're okay, I'm okay? No, absolutely not. I'm okay regardless whether or not you're okay. I care about you, yes, but if you're okay doesn't change the fact of whether or not I'm okay. I mean, that whole concept is like, it's so far removed from the realm of just common flow. I mean, nobody lives life like that, but yet everybody lives life like that. And that sounds like an oxymoron, because I said it that way on purpose, to get your attention, to have your attention. So what am I saying? It's this concept that it pushes the boundaries of what we know to be true, and it steps into the limelight and says, well, if you're okay, then I'm okay, or if what you're going through is this or that, and then it matters to me. But really, does it matter to you? Probably not. In the span of life, in the experience of life, we're not really looking at people and saying, well, they're going through things. In my experience, and I'm sure in yours, I can't speak for you, but I can speak for myself, and that's most people don't really care about anything except what they're going through in that specific time. They can say they're concerned, they can send you a sympathy letter or something, but they're not really, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, nobody's going to care outside of the realm of their hurting. They're not going to look at you and say, oh, you're hurting, let me help you, unless, of course, you're a mother or something, but I'm talking about the common flow in everyday life. But yet there's this sort of mentality and this expectation, I believe, in the heart of man and in the experience of mankind that, well, everybody should be concerned about what I'm going through. And there's this sympathetic sort of portion of life that nobody is looking at really, but yet everybody has this weird underlying underbelly of expectation that, well, why don't they care about me? Well, newsflash, nobody cares about anything except themselves. I mean, this is the most egotistical, there you go, egotistical, and just megalomaniacal sort of world that we live in, and we've given birth to this, so we can't get mad at any one person and say, well, this person did this and this person did that. Nobody is responsible for you except you. So I always get sort of irritated when I hear people say, well, this person did this to me. Nobody did anything to you. That's just the story you're telling yourself. Maybe those experiences were there, but in and regardless, people do things based upon their own interactions with themselves. And they make these decisions based upon those narratives. Because why? Because they believe that they are the only person in the world. We don't say this, of course, but everybody in some capacity or another has this underbelly of they are concerned about themselves. Nobody else in the world really, it's not a concern to them. They don't wake up thinking about you. I mean, I know you think that they may think that, but they're not. They're thinking about themselves first, then their family, and so on. And in most cases, that's just how it is. But see, well, why am I harping a little bit extra here on that specific area? Because that has a lot to do with what we're talking about, of being the invisible craftsman. Being the person that nobody sees, but yet everybody expects to show up. And so highlighting these areas, these craftsmen, these artists, these people that are just doing what nobody is really doing. And people are like, well, you're not doing much, or, you know, you're not showing up to this event or that event, and whatever the case. And it's like, just because they're not in the public eye, and just because you don't see them, doesn't mean they're not refining their design philosophy, and that they're not significantly contributing to building something amazing in the world. I mean, it's incredible always to me. It's like Nelson Mandela, he said this, and it's something that stays with me, I believe, the rest of my life. He said this, he said, it's always seems impossible until it's done. I absolutely love that, because, see, that's the root. That's the mind behind the design. And there it is. It really, I mean, truly, let's be honest with ourselves. That most people are just looking at life with this expectation of, well, this is the way it is, or, you know, why aren't you going through this like everybody else is, or whatever the case. I mean, everybody's got their sort of flow and focus of what they think somebody should be going through in the midst of this, and it's like, you know, you're not emotional, or you're not caring, or you're not concerned, or whatever. And there's these different interpretations of what's really going on. But I love that, because it just deals with the root of the issue. He said, it always seems impossible until it's done. So, dare I say, if you're going through some things and you're experiencing some things, keep going. It's going to work. It's going to get even better. And people will start to come to you and look to you for the answers because you have something that they need. They wouldn't be coming to you otherwise. So, just be encouraged in that, because even though you're the invisible craftsman, doesn't make you any less or any more. So, there I say, great works are often born in silence, not in the clamor of publicity. That was James Clear that said that. And the importance of patience, dedication, and power of incremental improvements made in solitude is vital. So, and I just have a few things I want to really hit on here. So we're just going to be wrapping this up relatively soon here, and I want to really get the meat of what I'm sharing with you to you in a packaged way. So there's something very important about the unseen challenges and embracing those unseen challenges, because remember, they're unseen. Nobody sees them. Nobody is looking at those things because they don't know that they're there. Just like the foundation. If you wrap the walls with sheetrock and make the rooms in a basement, you wouldn't know that there's a foundation there. Most people would not, because most people don't live in that world of that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the experience, and that's fine. So, sharing tales of individuals who have faced and overcame challenges without public recognition include a graphic designer whose innovative work in digital typography remained unrecognized for decades. So you might be wondering, well, isn't that, they got their recognition. Well, maybe so. They got their recognition years after. But in the process of them building, they did not. And that's the key that I want to hone in on here, because there's another quote here: success is stumbling from failure to failure without losing, or with no loss of enthusiasm. That was Winston Churchill. The role of the unseen struggles in building resilience and creativity. The role of unseen. And so the quiet revolution that we have here, this is the area of debate for, I think, a lot of people, because we're all in our own revolution. We're all in our own experience of this. And examining how silent persistence has led quiet revolutions in various industries are exemplified by an interior designer whose minimalist concept, initially overlooked, became influential in modern design. These are people, again, that you would never know what they've gone through to get what they have inside of them to you. And when I say inside of them, I mean the creativity. You experience what they've expressed because they did what nobody else is willing to do in most cases. Most people are not willing to take the plunge, take the leap, step into those realms beyond. They're not willing to live outside of their comfort zone and really step into the space of, this is what is needed, this is what is required of me. And I love I don't know if you follow professional bodybuilding. I don't so much, but I do respect people like Ronnie Coleman. He's one of the greatest. In fact, he, by definition, is the greatest. But of course, he pays tribute to people that have gone before him because he's a true champion. Because people that can recognize they did not arrive on their own, but they came as a result of their people that have brought them through and learning from their predecessors. So, in any event, he's 8-time world champion. The man is really in rough shape these days, but again, if you don't follow professional bodybuilding, I don't either. I'm just, like I said, I'm inspired by Ronnie Coleman's story. The man is just a legend, absolute legend, because his fortitude. And he was asked, even with all the 13 back surgeries that you've had from professional bodybuilding, would you do it again? He said, absolutely, 100,000%. And why? Because he saw something that nobody else saw. He saw himself in that space. And in order to really achieve the greatness that you say you want to achieve, you have to see yourself there. And he saw himself there. He saw himself as this person, and he was pursuing his dream, and that was his dream. And so there was this predecessor that you might more be familiar with, and rightfully so, because he's a legend as well, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He is somebody that really has stepped up into that realm and has become a legend in his own. He was a 7-time World Olympia. But then I say there was this competitor that gave the edge to Ronnie and really kept him moving with velocity, was Jay Cutler. And Jay Cutler had said something, and again, I don't really follow. It might sound like I really follow these people, and I don't. But when I find passion, I really like it. I enjoy it, and I really want to gravitate towards it, because passion is the fuel that really gets the jet engines inside of us moving forward in the resilience of what we're really looking to achieve. So when I watch people like that, I not only get inspired, it does something to me. And so that's why I really am always admiring those aspects of people. Kobe Bryant's another one, Michael Jordan, so on and so on. I can just speak to these different names. But I'm looking at this area of Jay Cutler. He said, I live in a box. That's what I was getting to. I live in a box. And you might say, well, what does that mean? He had such a diet regimen. He loved living in a box. That's what he said. I've become obsessed with just the boring diet that I have to go through, because to be the best is more important than the gratification of the momentary. And when he said that, something really stirred inside of me, and it has just amplified this area of like, become the best. But to become the best, you have to do what nobody else is willing to do. You have to go through it, and you have to bury yourself in that work and come out as something just unknown to the world, a new species altogether. And that is what it's all about. It's building that, and it's regimented inside of our daily diet of what we're taking in and what we're putting out into the world. So never worry so much about what you're putting out, more so worry and concern yourself, not worry, but concern yourself with what you're putting into yourself. So because what you're absorbing is what you're producing. Be very concerned with those areas, because it's important. Innovation is seeing what everybody has seen and thinking what nobody has thought. I absolutely love that quote. Dr. Albert, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, but that's his name there, Dr. Albert. And so the impact of silent innovation of industry trends and societal norms is, it's just, how does something become a norm? Something becomes a norm because somebody was willing to step into the arena that nobody else was willing to step into. So, as we conclude here, I want to really help you and motivate you to go beyond the realm of where you've been before. And I want to thank you for being with us on this incredible opportunity to build our world from the space of design. I hope it's helping you. I hope it's encouraging you, and I hope your friends, your family, people that you admire, and people that you are looking to really help and just be involved with, and that we can have some type of influence and impact on the mind of design it's beyond words for me. It excites me, and it motivates me to keep going. So I want to hear from you. So please send us an email. If you're an email person, please just feel free to send us an email. We'll have many more different ways to connect. You can connect with us on Facebook. We have our Facebook page, The Mind of Design Facebook page. You can check us out there. But you can send us a message there, what have you. But also you can send us an email to the Mind of Design, feedback at themindofdesign.com. Again, that's feedback at themindofdesign.com. Feel free to reach out to us, spread some love, give us some feedback, give us some updates, maybe some topics and things you want to hear in the future. definitely connect with us. We want to hear from you, so make sure that you comment, like, subscribe to us in all the different platforms that we're connected on here. We want to hear from you. So as always, we want to make sure that you get the very best from this. So like I said, make sure you connect with us. So we want to really step into that realm deeper with you. Get ready for more interviews, get ready for more topics, more discussions, and as we expand and grow, it's going to be a great time together. I'm looking forward to it. So until next time, stay curious and stay inspired. Thank you.